What's up, guys? Nick here, and today I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step guide on building a simple no-code question and answer AI system. So this tool will utilize information you provide it, like your company's employee handbook or standard operating procedures, and enable your employees to interact with it to quickly find the answers that they need. So this means new team members can get up to speed without sifting through lengthy documents or constantly reaching out to their managers, HR, or other colleagues. So you could probably see that the use cases of this can vary and can be extremely beneficial. So, if you have a new employee and they're stuck on a specific process, they don't know how to do it, instead of having to go straight to their manager, they could just look up this answer through the chatbot. So, essentially, calling the agent and asking, hey, I'm not sure how to respond properly to this customer, or I'm not exactly sure how to go about this system. So, it just has to ask the agent and it'll come back with an answer. So obviously, the better information that you give the agent, the better information you're going to be getting back. So, obviously, if you want them to understand specific SOPs and follow the proper guidelines, then you're going to have to give the agent that information. So I've been able to help companies save tens of hours every single week, which compounds into hundreds of hours and well over thousands of dollars saved every year through implementing systems like what I'm about to show you. So if you're a business owner and you want to leverage our AI systems to scale your business and completely eliminate your repetitive tasks, like I've done with companies before, then book a free call with me and I'll show you how to drive revenue, save time in your business, and ultimately scale for growth so that you can finally step away from the daily operations. Also, be sure to join my school community because I'll be providing so much other valuable resources that'll help you grow and scale your business, which I don't provide at my YouTube. So before we get started building out this actual workflow and showing you how you can build something like this yourself, I want to show you exactly how it works and give you a quick demo. So as you can see, some of the questions I've asked before, what are the most important things I should know as a new employee in the company? So it's going to look at the document that I gave it, so my company's handbook essentially, and it's going to extract information relevant to the question that I'm asking. So first, it's saying equipment and security, so familiarizing yourself with IT security protocols and handle company provided hardware and software responsibly. Career development, performance evaluation, company culture, health and safety, and it's giving a bunch of other things. So then I asked, what are your policies on taking leave? So sick leave and even paid. And it's going to give some answers on that. So I can even ask further questions. But, I just wanted to leave things a little bit less descriptive for the time being. But anyways, it's just giving information on, we'll look at sick leave. So paid sick days are available for illness or medical appointments. So if I go into my employee handbook, let's see if I could search something. So sick leave. So as you can see, paid sick days for illness or medical appointments only, and even gave some information on the sabbatical opportunities. So if we go back here, we can see the sabbatical opportunities answer right there, which is pretty cool. So as you can see, I have this 20-page document, which is just information on our company handbook. So as I mentioned, this can be used for new hires or, a longer term employee who just has some questions or they just want some insights on specific company culture like that. So now we're going to actually be building out this actual workflow step by step. So first things first, the few platforms or the few systems that you're going to be using. One, obviously n8n. Number two is Pinecone. So Pinecone, if I come into it real quick, this is where we're going to be storing all of our documents. So we're basically going to be pushing the data from our company handbook into Pinecone. And this is going to allow us to, extract and pull the information, or the answers, I should say, to the questions that we're asking. So this is a super important step, and you can't really avoid using Pinecone. And the other thing is just going to be OpenAI/ChatGPT. So how we're going to be going about this, we're going to have two separate workflows. One is going to be actually pushing the information into Pinecone. So taking the company handbook and putting that into our Pinecone vector database. And the next step is actually just going to be building out the AI agent. So we're going to focus on the first one, which is going to be pushing the data. So we'll come into n8n and we're just going to create a brand new workflow. So whenever this loads in, we'll add workflow and we'll call this test push data. So So because I stored this company handbook in my Google Drive, we're going to have to download that and actually access it. So we'll go to Google Drive and we'll find download and just make sure that's hooked up properly. So honestly, one of the hardest things, which is saying a lot about this process, one of the hardest things is actually connecting your account. So to actually connect your account to Google Drive, let me show you real quick. So we'll go to create a new connection and we'll go to open these docs. So essentially, all you have to do is get your client ID and your client secret. But to do that, you're going to have to enable the API. So if we go into Google Cloud, so if you just follow these directions, you'll be able to start working on this. So we'll just search Google Drive API. Click on the first one. And we're just going to want to make sure that this is enabled. So right here is where it's going to say enable. So once this is enabled, you just go to manage and you go to credentials. And what you just want to do is create a new credential. So once you create that credential, so I just call this n8n, you're going to copy the client ID. And if you click edit, you could actually copy your client secret and then you could just paste it straight into your n8n workflow. So just put it right there. But since we already did this, we're going to close this out and we're already selecting our Google Drive account. So now we just want to select the right file. So I forget what I had this called exactly. So Reprise company information PDF. So should be able to search that. Okay. So we're going to choose the second one and we'll just test this out to make sure that we're actually getting the correct output. So as you can see, it's outputting the proper data. So to actually ensure that it's the right data, we'll just click view. And as you can see, this is exactly what we are looking for. So now we want to take this and store it into Pinecone. So I'm just going to connect this real quick and we'll come back to it. Okay. So let's hook that up. So now what we're going to be doing is coming to Pinecone. So just search up Pinecone and create a free account. It's going to be a while before you actually have to start paying for anything within Pinecone. So it's based on usage and I haven't even used Pinecone too much. So I'm still paying for free. But as you can see, we have one of our indexes, which is Reprise handbook. So I'll show you real quick before we create a new one. So there's not much to it. All you have to do is just type out a few different answers and you'll be able to create an index. So I'll show you how to actually do that. So create an index at the top right and we'll just call this Reprise handbook v1. And the only thing we're going to be changing is the model. So we'll just choose 3 small. Choose that. Everything else looks fine. And we'll just go ahead and create that index. So that's basically all you have to do here. So if you go to namespaces, you're going to see that there's nothing in here right now. It's actually listed as default, but we're going to be inputting something in here later and I'll explain how this works. So now I just want to make sure I remember the name. So Reprise handbook v1. So now we just want to hook that up. So if you go to Pinecone account, so to connect your account, all you do is get your API key. So to get your API key, just go to keys right here. You'll be able to copy and paste that straight into there. Super simple. So now we just want to find our index that we just created. So we should see here, Reprise handbook v1. That's exactly what we're looking for. So I guess we could create a namespace here. So we'll just call this data or employee underscore data. I'm not sure if we need the underscore or not, but leave it like that. So essentially what namespaces does, it keeps it organized within our workflows and everything to find exactly which parts we're going to be extracting and what to be calling. So this just helps mitigate some confusion. So now we just want to hook everything else up. So I actually forgot a super important step. So for the operation mode, you're actually going to have to change that from retrieve documents to inserting documents because obviously we're going to be inserting the documents from our Google Drive into Pinecone and not retrieving anything, at least right now. So make sure that's hooked up properly. For some reason, our namespace cleared. So employee underscore data, put that in there. Make sure that, okay. Good. Now we can just hook this up and we can input everything else. So we go to embedding And we're just going to be using OpenAI. So we'll choose our credentials. And once again here, we're just going to be creating a new credential and inputting your API key. So we already have ours, and we'll make sure to do the same text embedding that we chose within Pinecone, which was the embedding 3 small. And now we'll just insert document, so default data loader, and type of data, we'll just make sure that's binary, and we can just leave everything else as default. So then we'll just input a text splitter, and we'll do recursive character text splitter. So this is just going to split the text into, separate chunks by characters. So basically this is just going to, break down the documents a little bit. So if we have a bigger file, we're going to want to have more chunk sizes. And yeah, so we'll just leave everything as default. So we don't want to do too much here. So if we go to test workflow, see what happens real quick. So it should be looking at our employee handbook and putting that straight into this vector database, and also with that namespace. So if we come into V1, and we'll give it a second. So if I refresh, maybe should have a brand new namespace. Okay, so just refreshed, and as you can see, employee data is now there. So now we want to do, now that we have this information in our Pinecone, we're going to be building out this AI agent. So as you can see, it doesn't involve really too much. So what we want to do here, we're going to save this, and we're just going to create a brand new workflow. So we'll come into our dashboard once again, and we'll just do the same exact thing before. So add a workflow. So you can see we're starting off with when chat message is received, and sending that to AI agent and everything. So go here, delete this. So chat, do chat trigger, and we'll leave that blank. So you could take a few different forms of this. So if you want this agent to actually be in one of your platforms, so if you want this to be in your Slack channel, if you want this to be, in Twilio or WhatsApp, where you're just texting this agent or calling it, whatever, you can have it be on there. But for now, we're just going to be leaving this on n8n. But please keep in mind that you can put this on different platforms like Slack or whatever other communication channel that you guys are using. So now we just want to connect this to AI agent, and we'll make sure that this is a tools agent. So leave everything else blank, and we're just going to be inputting some of these little nodes. So we'll use OpenAI once again, choose our credential that we used earlier. We'll use ChatGPT 4o, keep everything else blank, and now we're just input some sort of memory. So this is just going to allow our agent to have previous context with its previous conversations. So if you had some conversations, let's say it's taking its previous 5 conversations, and in one of those it's talking about how much money a new employee gets. So it can then reference that information within a new conversation if somebody's asking about it. So super helpful tool right there. So we'll move that aside, and now we'll just input a tool. So right here, we'll just be finding vector store database. So if we go to here and we go to vector store tool, then we can just call this something like call company data. So I'm actually going to take what I said earlier. So I'm just going to say, call this tool to access company information to answer user questions. So that looks good enough. And now we just want to add a vector store. So we'll add the Pinecone vector store right here. And we'll make sure that we're choosing our right account, and we'll be doing retrieve documents this time. So from index, we'll just choose wherever we had it before. So we should see reprise handbook v1. And we'll have to also include our namespace. So what should we exactly have it? So I'm just going to copy and paste this namespace, put it in here, put that down there. And I'll just put it in an embedding from OpenAI. So connect our credentials once again, input text embedding 3 small, leave everything there. And I will just input OpenAI here. Choose that. Choose ChatGPT 4o. And we can leave everything else as blank. And that's basically it. So it's about 90% done. So all you have to do now is just prompting your AI agent. So if we go to add a system message, so instead of saying you are a helpful assistant, so we're going to be determining what we want this assistant to do. So to do that, we're just going to copy this. We're going to go into ChatGPT. So we just inputted the image right here. So as you can see, that's the exact image we just took. And what we're just going to be saying is prompt this agent to answer questions from the user, include background, context, and some instructions. Make sure the answers are concise and succinct. Okay, so we're just using ChatGPT for this, but there's obviously going to be different practices that you can use to have the best prompts. So obviously, if you have a large project or a huge client that you're dealing with, and you really need proper responses every single time, you're going to want to be very thorough within your process. So this looks good enough. So we're going to take this prompt, and we're just going to copy it into our agent. So I'll put that in the system message. And I'll just go ahead, save, and test this out. So we'll go to chat, and we'll say, what are our policies on? So we're just going to look into our handbook, and we'll find something. So let's see. So we could just say, we're going to ask what our R&D team is working on, and we should get something like this. So go in here. What is our R&D team working on? And we'll see what it comes up with. Okay, so the R&D team is working on quantum computing applications, ethical AI frameworks, and autonomous systems. So it is pulling the data properly, and it's going to be able to answer any of these questions. So we can even ask it who are our leaders, who is the CEO, and it'll come up with Alexandra Reynolds, CTO, COO, CFO, whatever. Literally any information you need to know, you can ask it, and it'll come back with an answer, just a few seconds later. And like I said, you can put this straight onto your Slack channels or wherever you guys operate. So that's essentially it, how you can actually build out a question and answer AI assistant just using your company's employee handbook or what other information. So really hope this walkthrough gave you a clear understanding of all the components involved and how they actually come together. So getting the basics down, it's so crucial because it actually allows you to expand the assistant's capabilities, just like adding more tools, integrating additional workflows, or connecting it with other resources like your department's SOPs. So this assistant can be incredibly useful in various scenarios, just helping employees find answers about their roles, company policies, or procedures without needing to consult their boss, HR, or other managers. So if you found this helpful and have suggestions on what you'd like to see next, please let me know. And with that being said, if you are looking to have us actually implement systems like these or discover some of your bottlenecks to actually identify what's causing you guys some problems within the business, then feel free to book a discovery call. Link is in the description, and also join my free skill community. Links also down below, where we provide other valuable resources that aren't on our YouTube channel. So thanks for watching. Hope you found some real value in this, and I'll see you in the next video.